Hey everyone, thank you once again for tuning in to the Iconist Podcast. I'm one of your two hosts. I'm Barry 3D Carter, the man with the mostest. I've got the laugh, but I just keep going on and on and on to the break of dawn. And like usual, the man, the myth, the legend that joins me on my side, my co-host, my cousin, my compadre, the legendary turntable master C man. I don't know why I said Master C, but the turntable maestro. There we go.
Yeah, Maestro, because it ends with a C, we'll go with DJ Maestro C. Okay. There we go. Let's do it. Let's do it.
I like that. My man Rod. Like usual, this is the Iconist Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. You know where to find us. You can see my links down below at barry3d.com. And Rod, where can it find you?
You can find me down below again. You can find me that way. I made pause. That sounded a little weird, but we'll just unpause that. So you can find me in the frame right yonder show. Yonder show is a good word to use. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Mr. Rod C. You can definitely also find me on Twitch at DJ Rod C. Listen, we're going to have some fun today. The icon is... I can't talk yet, but we even talk about our people.
No, man, we got to talk about our people. So we're going to make it really quick, right? So, one. Got to support the books. So if you're out in Kitchener, go and see Wow Comics. Go to Wow Comics. Tell Wes, Ramon, Chris, and Sydney that we said hi from the Iconist Podcast. If you're out in Montreal, make the trek over to Champlain Bridge, hit out in Brossard, go over to Check Swings and tell Trevor, Pierre, and Dom that your people here at the Iconist Podcast said hi. Support the books so we can support what we do, and please support us on our Patreon or Coffee page, or just subscribe, and share, rate, and review.
Let's go.
Right on. And as always, the last one, man, best for last. You got to do it. It comes down like this. The man that makes us look so pretty. Yes. The man that keeps us looking so crisp, so fresh, and so clean. Dun, 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 dun. The one and only, who am I talking about, Rod?
Jaybird Digital Arts.
Jaybird Digital Arts. And guess what? If you tell and need any kind of work done, from templates to media, whatever graphic design you need, you reach out to Jaybird. You tell him you heard about him where? On the Iconist Podcast. And he'll give you what?
Discount.
That's right. Just remember, say Iconist Podcast. Hi, Jay. How you doing? Discount, follows really quick. Hit him up. That's our man.
Where's my discount? Where's my discount? They'll be like, all right, don't worry. All right, we got you. Here we go.
Sweet Caroline. Right? And it comes down like this. We are talking about the icon today is Maverick. Now, I know you see the title. You're like, Barry, are you thinking Top Gun Maverick? And I'm like, But no. There's no planes involved in this Maverick, unless he's jumping out of one. We are talking about my man, the one who was going by Christoph Nord. Maverick from Marvel Comics, created by Jim Lee, drawn by Jim Lee, and co-created by John Bryan. Two of my favorite artists and writers created this character, and this character might have slipped underneath you. So his first appearance was in the Jim Lee's run of the X-Men, issue number 5, back in February 1992. Wow. So he's got a couple of different names. He goes by Christoph, Christopher, David. Okay, we know, yada, yada, yada. Hey, bottom line, the man's a spy. The man's a mercenary.
Listen, he needs a lot, he needs a lot of passports. He's got we've seen enough movies. A spy, an international spy don't carry one piece of passport. They got different ones with different names.
That's right. Safe houses, the whole 9 yards. And this is how I see this character. Now, why is this character so important? Even though he's more of a more, let's say, newer character, and you'll see what I mean by that. He's a newer character. He was part of an important team that I personally wished they did a full-out miniseries on, like a proper miniseries back in the day from how it was set up. So this is what I'm talking about. Here we go. Here's some history about it, right? So Christoph Nord was born in East Germany to American parents. Okay, which technically makes him German because he was born on German soil. So we're going with that. Now we don't know much about his early history. There's little mentions here and there, and it seemed that his parents could have been involved with the Nazi regime. We don't know. But he came up, and he also had a brother. So it was him and his brother. And he came up, and he kind of became like a freedom fighter to that point. He fought for the good cause, right? And he was also a mutant. And his mutant power was almost similar to Sebastian Shaw, where he would get like, kinetic energy. He would take the hit and
and you're like, what I got.
Yep. And so he came up, and that was his early history, but his history, his storyline is tragic. It's convoluted. It's got a lot of stuff to it. I think right from the bat, it makes a good spy thriller. So this is where I first came across his character, was when Jim Lee started his run on the X-Men, when they kind of given a reboot and they went to the red team and gold team, red and blue team at one point. But just going back that early issue, it was a flashback with Wolverine running, and he's getting the Carbamine synthesizer, and he's fighting Omega Red. And he goes, hey, this brings me back to a memory. And it goes to a cool memory. And you see Wolverine before he was Wolverine. Right. Sabretooth before he was Sabretooth. So it wasn't Wolverine, it was Logan. It wasn't Sabretooth, it was Creed. And then there was Christoph, or he was going by Christopher at the time, and he went by the code name Maverick. And they're all in black. They had the yellow straps, for the gun holsters and their backpacks and all that stuff. And then they had their goggles and everything. But Maverick had on this black and yellow mask that would cover the majority of his face and left his mouth open. And that mask had targeting inside of it, infrared. So it was like hardcore. I love the look of it. And it showed that on one of their missions, they were supposed to rescue a certain scientist. They didn't think she was going to make it. Omega Red at this point was just made part of the Soviet super soldier program. He's chasing them down, and he needed that Carbamine synthesizer, I know I'm mispronouncing it, but he needed that they had. And in their escape, the mission went just went out the crapper. So Creed being Creed saying, hey, we got to cut the dead weight. And he killed the doctor. They were supposed to free and rescue the doctor. Creed decides to kill the doctor.
Like Creed, why are we here? Aren't we here to save the... Man, now I can't get that vacation request go through now, because you just messed me up, man.
Right?
Make it hard. Creed.
Exactly. So that's what Creed did, and that's what caused. So this team was called Team X. Of course, in X-Men books, always got to be X somewhere. X, like Exhibit. Dun, 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 dun. Right, you gotta listen to Exhibit if you're not sure. Wednesdays on Twitch with DJ Rod C.
Let's go.
He'll play it. X. Okay. But yeah. That's one time I'll not do the Saturday Love on him and him with the X. So this was Team X. They break out. Now, keep in mind at this point they're in a big building or a castle. Of course, it's a castle. Overlooking the water down below. They have to make the jump, and Christoph, let's say Christopher. We'll call him Christopher. So Christopher turned around, and he wasn't sure at this point, because he knew he was a mutant, but he wasn't sure. There was no term really to mutant. He just knew he was different. He was able to survive certain things. He suspected the same thing because he's seen Creed and Logan also in action, and either their reflexes, the way they took damage, how they recovered from being shot. He's like, I think we could survive this fall. He was right, though. He was right, because he's very observant. So his whole thing is he's a planner. He's a tactician. He plans things out to a T. He's very observant. He just doesn't run in there, guns blazing. If guns are blazing, it's because there's supposed to be a reason why guns are blazing. He's the kind of guy
not like body count. That's what he doesn't do.
Oh,
he's a strategist. That's
body count. Yeah. Those who don't know, there's a game called Laser Quest, and we all had to take names. And my nickname was Body Count in Laser Quest in the house. And I would just run into situations, just start shooting everything like it was an action movie, and never had a plan. But I survived.
Yeah.
My cousin was a smarter one.
I was a smarter one. He was really pulling his inner Wolverine, his inner Christoph, like say, I will survive this. I'm not worried. I'll be okay. Minus the strategy portion of Chris. That was Barry's latent mutant power. I know I've got skills. I'll survive it.
I got reflexes. I'm a dancer. I got reflexes. Check me out.
I can bounce off the walls.
Yeah. Anyway, sometimes it worked. Sometimes it didn't. I was more like long shot.
Okay,
we should cover that character. Okay, we're gonna get back.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely we should.
Right. So this is how he started off. So there wasn't much known about him.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much that was what Wolverine was remembering was their last mission. And the reason he remembers it is because Maverick does show up at one point in the X-Men books present day. And when they have the flashback, he sees him. So first of all, I love the way Jim Lee and John Bryan both got together and helped design this character and created this character. I love this look with the armor, the guns. It fit. It was 90s, right? It made sense. And it still does up to now. And he didn't even have his own series. So I wanted to see one more of Team X on some of their missions, because I think that would have been a cool miniseries back, even up to now. Do a flashback miniseries, that's where it comes into. He was the leader of the team. So that's another interesting dynamic. How did they get together? What other missions did they do? Because we know Wolverine was a secret agent at one point, and Sabretooth was in the Black Ops world. So it fits. But after that mission, he was done. He was like, that's it. I'm pretty much done with all this stuff. He's done other missions. He's done. He's walked away. He didn't like how Sabretooth, killed the Doctor when they're supposed to rescue her. What they were supposed to steal that was missing, and that was needed for Omega Red to survive. This is why Omega Red had to go back into status, because his own death spore power was killing him.
Right.
And this would have balanced out that power for him. So he's back in status, angry. They look at the team. He's like, okay, I'm done. Wolverine says, well, I lost it, so whatever. But he always suspected, and he was pretty much sure Wolverine didn't lose it. Sorry, Logan didn't lose it. Logan hit it. And this is what brought him into the present day with the debut also of Omega Red in that issue.
Right.
Or maybe the issue before, but Omega Red was issue 4, issue 5 is where Omega Red came out. Okay, so now I see he's a spy, he's a mercenary, he's a mutant, and he has an arch villain already in Omega Red. Omega Red to me is not Logan Wolverine's main enemy. To me, he would fit more with Maverick.
You know what? I would definitely agree in regards to the Logan / versus Omega Red. Like Omega Red, definitely the only kind of like ties you will say is from the early program, the Weapon X Piper program. Right. Other than that, afterwards, now that you say that, I'm really thinking, I didn't see him that much against Logan. No. And you would right say like they had the conflict with, that's the backstory conflict between Omega Red and Maverick. From then, okay, I'll go with that.
Yeah, okay. To me, it seemed like he was more Maverick's arch nemesis than Logan's, just because Logan is old. He's a mutant, and he's part of the Weapon X program, and this is the Russian version of the Super Soldier program. So then, by rights, they all should be fighting Captain America. But no, to me, it really should be Maverick and Omega Red. These are the two polar opposites. Russia and Germany. Come on, now it's right there, and I don't think they dug deep enough into it, but there's more meat on that bone, as I like to say. So after this mission was done, they kind of split their separate ways. Maverick's doing his own thing. Maverick gets hurt on a mission, survives it, right? And he's got a healing factor, just per se, but he survives it. And after he's recovering, because he was on another mission with another Black Ops unit called Cell 6. And he was on a mission in Italy, and he was injured by a rival assassin named the Confessor. So while recovering, he met an Italian nurse. Janetta Barcellini. Usual. We know how the story goes. Meets the nurse. Injured. Nurse falls in love. Oh, love is in the air.
There you go.
Right. And then over the next couple of years, they date, they get married. He's happy. He's walking away from that whole Black Ops world. But then he gets messages that his old team members from Cell 6, the agents, one by one, just getting taken out. But, okay, can't figure it out. He's like, man, I'm one of the few people left from Cell 6. And then, he kind of says, let me dig in to see what's going on. Oh, no. Betrayal most foul. His wife is a spy. He's an enemy spy.
Yep.
She got with him to get the information to turn around and say, hey, these are the spies part of Cell 6, and gave it back to her handlers, her superiors, and they were killing him off. So she was kind of pumping him for information. No pun intended.
Pause. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So they get into a fight in their house, and you know, she pulls out a knife and she's going after him. The two of them are fighting, and she's like, "Oh, you don't have the guts to kill me. You love me. You won't kill me." And during this fight, she lounges at him with the knife.
Yep.
By reflex and self-defense. Pop. Right? He defends himself, ends up killing his wife. And then his wife turns around and in her dying breath looks at him and was like, "Huh, you just didn't kill me. You killed me and our unborn child." Dun dun.
That was it.
Drama. Yeah. Ouch.
Yeah, and that just kind of, and that basically pushed him over the edge. So he was now, you know, for him to get through all that pain and guilt, you know, it just drove him further into his mercenary work and stuff.
Yeah.
And and that's where we start seeing the connection into what we know now. But
that's it. He changed his persona. He came extremely cold. He was racked with guilt. And as Rod said, he dove into his mercenary work, his spy work. He would work for any agency, regardless, no matter what three-letter agency it was, CIA, FBI, whatever, MI6. He would put his services out there and do these missions. He came extremely distrustful of women after that experience. I mean, okay, that's not a Dr. Phil episode. That's a Dr. Phil season.
Yeah, that's a couple of stories behind that one for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So with this, of course, now as time goes on, Omega Red is back. Wolverine, now Logan has become Wolverine. Creed has become Sabretooth. And he meets up with them again. And of course, there's another person that shows up, which is Wraith. Right? He shows up in the Wolverine books. He's a teleporter. Remember, he was played by Will.i.am in Wolverine movie Origins. Yep. And that was a good casting. To me, if you look at the comic book and you see Will.i.am as Wraith, that was him. That was him. Like, the casting on that one to me was still dead on. So he gets in there and they start working on missions together. And, you know, at one point he gets taken in by the Weapon X program, Department H. Bum, 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 bum. Drama. So this is what happens. So while Wolverine's becoming Wolverine, I should say, where he's getting the adamantium, he gets the adamantium put inside of him.
Yep.
You know, and then he goes crazy and he breaks out of the Weapon X
facility. Yeah.
And he's right. Because at this point, Logan was captured, Sabretooth was captured, you know, Christopher was captured. They took a little bit of Wolverine's DNA and they put it onto Christopher to kind of give him a low level healing factor. Right. So now he takes kinetic energy and he has a healing factor. He's got the reflexes and he's trained fully as a mercenary, a spy, an agent, you know, hand-to-hand combat on fleek, weapons master. Okay. So this character, he is a one-man walking army, you know, and he's got his tech. And with that, now he's got this. So when Wolverine breaks out of, you know, Weapon X, inadvertently he frees everybody else without realizing it, and that's how Christopher gets away. That's how Sabretooth gets away. You know, and if you want to kind of follow some more of their stories, you got to read the actual Wolverine series later on. I think it's the issues where you get about the 60 issue mark that you see those stories going in there. So, but getting back to, you know, our man Maverick, he gets out, you know, he gets over back to North America and he starts going back and forth with his, you know, his missions, right? And that's it. The carbonium synthesizer. That's the product, you know? Okay, yep. So at one point, Sabretooth starts going a little bit crazy because Sabretooth used to have a telepath with him and she used to kind of soothe his thoughts. He almost it was a calming effect and it was addictive for him. That was his drug, was to have this girl named Birdie go into his head and just kind of give him the zone or in the light, and calm him down. His killing spree.
Just like Mantis on Guardian of the Galaxy, sleep to bring down Oa.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes,
Same
exactly. So get in there, but he was going on a killing spree. North decided to go, so he went from Christoph Nord to Christopher North, and he went on a killing, to stop Wolverine from going on this killing spree. Not Wolverine, sorry, Sabretooth. So he teamed up with Wolverine to bring down Sabretooth because they're bringing back the whole Team X dynamic. Wraith comes back into the picture. So a lot of adventures happen, and it's going around the world. At another point, he gets in there and he starts fighting this other agent, and they're going back and forth at it once again. Another fight, ends up killing that agent, and he finds out later on that agent was his brother. Like, this guy's got no luck. So far he's lost his parents. They don't talk much about it at all. But he's lost his wife, unborn child, and his brother. And all three, the last three I just mentioned, were at his hands. So,
yeah, he's having a lot of fun. We'll just leave it at that. He's having a lot of fun. Just trying to cope with everything.
Poor guy. So, and then as he goes on, so this was all in, odd issues here and there within the X-Men. Then they had his one-shot issue of Maverick, and Texera, he was the artist on one of them. I love his art with Maverick. Then he had his own series, and within his own series at one point, because he loses his mutant power because good old Scarlet Witch says no more mutants. All right, so he lost his mutant power, but he still has every skill that he's acquired, right? Forget the mutant power. So he's going on. Then, what are we going to do? Give him the legacy virus, which was death to mutants. That was like the mutant version of AIDS. There was no cure for it at the time. That went on for a long time. Then he got over that, and it seemed like his powers were going to compensate, and they were very erratic up and down. And then he seems to have like a love interest. Another woman shows up, and she kind of starts dating him. Like, at first she wanted to work with him, hire him to hunt down Sabretooth because Sabretooth was responsible for killing her mom, and she wanted to go and get revenge. And he's like, well, I better come with you to help you. So, and they started kind of forming a relationship after all this time. Mm-hmm. What is interesting about his own series, regardless of taking away his powers or not, is you see him in different locations. I like that he's going around the world, and he would stop in Canada. He stopped in Montreal. He stopped in Quebec City. There was just like Deathstroke the Terminator would have someone make his weapons, Maverick had someone making all his gear and weapons for him, and he would pick them up at safe houses. And this woman, she was French Canadian. Vive le Québec. He would show up at her house, and she's got a little baby, and she's making all these weapons for him. And so it's such an interesting backstory on that, but they just kept. I think Marvel just didn't know what to do with this character.
Yeah, it's clear that you had him in a particular team, and you thought that you could utilize him for as much as possible. Then you realize that you just having him against Omega Red was great, but they never expanded on that enough to give him other people that he could have a storyline off of. Connecting him with Sabretooth, connecting with Wolverine, connecting with John Rath. Basically the Team X aspect of it, that's great. Realizing we know the more popular of that team was Wolverine and Sabretooth.
Yeah.
And we can branch off from there because those two had a connection. But yeah, that to me was a character that, you're right, is missed. And we'll definitely, we're getting to that conversation right now. But Marvel kind of missed out on actually having that character there. I'm trying to think right off the top of my head. We did this character on the DC side. And Infiltrator? Is it No. Who was also on Arrowverse.
Vigilante?
Vigilante, sorry.
Yes.
I don't know why I did but yeah, Vigilante. So you can see kind of like the similarities of that thing.
Right.
Again, this character here, we'll have to go back and see who came first, whatever, but that's not even the point I'm bringing. I'm bringing the fact that with Maverick is he has abilities. He has his healing. He has a partial healing factor that he already had, but was brought up. Added a little more with Wolverine. He has his mutant ability to be like a sharpshooter and stuff like that. There is something there that they could have done more with, and I think that he's underutilized. And sometimes it hurts. And sometimes it hurts. Honestly, I'll be honest. Sometimes when I hear characters, especially when we talk about certain characters on here, I'm realizing this is the amount of ammunition this person has underneath their belt is on their repertoire. This is what they have, and you're not utilizing him. Like, oh my goodness, the amount of things. Like you're saying, he's basically a mercenary. A global mercenary, not a North American, not a United States only. This guy's going from country to country, dealing out pain for the highest bidder, for whoever has the money, whoever has the deepest pockets, like you said, CIA, FBI, MI6, who's ever willing to pay the bill, he'll take care of it. Why can he not be used more than that? Like I think we're getting to that conversation now. Like he's just unutilized, and he could be used definitely all over the place. Look at that. Anyway.
Of course, all over the place. I mean, look, so one, his main focus was to find out the person that hired his ex-wife to infiltrate him, to get information on the rest of Cell 6. He's looking for that person. That's his whole motivation because he wants revenge. He's lost his wife. He's lost his kid. We never really get a proper ending on that story, right? There's a lot of backstories with him, Creed, and Logan as Team X that we never get into, right? Yeah. So then we get into his other characters in his own series. He saves this kid named Chris Bradley. Chris Bradley is a young kid. He's a mutant. He runs away. The parents say, "Hey, can you help us find Chris?" Within the Maverick series, Maverick goes, finds him, brings him back, and says, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to set you guys up because what happened is, he was taken by the Friends of Humanity. So now." Once again, that's a Creed connection because the Friends of Humanity was made by Creed's, Victor Creed's son.
Yeah.
Graydon Creed was the founder of the Friends of Humanity. Yeah. This is where the story, the bulk of the story should go with different aspects. So it's almost like they start something and they just don't nail the landing.
Right.
So this is where I think it should be, and then he teams up with this girl, Ivana. So Ivana was the one who wanted that revenge, as I was saying, on Sabretooth, and they start a relationship. And then when his powers are failing and the legacy virus is getting the best of him, she stays there to take care of him. So that there is something where it could have almost been a rebirth into having because he wants a relationship, just doesn't want it how it was before. The whole, Chris Bradley, at one point, he turns around, and as the story goes on further and further, Chris's parents, get killed, if I remember correctly. And then Chris at one point thinks Maverick dies. And Maverick was like his best friend. He's the one he would still write him, send emails back and forth to him all the time. They would still communicate. Even when he was dying, Maverick still kept in touch with him. Yeah. And then when he found out that Maverick died and he was killed by somebody, Maverick was just going underground. He just said, okay, I'm going to fake my death and leave it be. Chris turned around and took up the mantle of Maverick. Yeah. And started going around as Maverick, right? So then when Chris came back, now keep in mind, the original Maverick, Christopher, he's had his mind altered just like Logan, just like Victor. He's had, he's remembered things, forgotten things. So he's aware of all this. There's a lot of that I know we're kind of going over. We're not really getting much deeper into. Unfortunately, we're almost doing it at the Marvel thing, not getting deep into the character. But we just want to show you how much cool stuff there is. And once again, Maverick, let's say Christopher meets the new Maverick, doesn't realize that that's Chris, Christopher, Bradley, that he's that little kid. He's now grown up. He's doing all these missions, but he's doing some missions for the wrong people. So the two of them start fighting. Christopher ends up shooting him, right? Not realizing that's the kid he was trying to save all this time. So much guilt. This guy, Christopher Norton Maverick needs a redemption story. And they know they went further and they changed his name to Agent Zero, but then the Zero you see in Wolverine Origins, totally different. He's Asian, he has super speed, he's got the two guns. Okay, let's dial it back a bit. I want the original Maverick. I don't want Agent Zero. I want Maverick with that cool mask, his classic look. Give me that character,
right?
And let's get into, the intrigue of it. So, we're gonna get to this point. We're gonna turn around and we're just gonna fan cast Maverick and give our 2 cents here.
Okay,
right. So, Rod, you want to start off? You have your guy there.
Listen, I got my guy. So I wanted to go with the character. I wanted to go with an actor who basically has the ability to pull off action sequence and a lot of movement and stuff along that line. Right. Along that line, I chose Dave Franco. Now, Dave Franco has been in a couple of movies, and here's the scenario. So we're gonna go with where am I? I just saw it. I scrolled up to the second one. I did it reverse. So basically, it was in why can't I find him now? Now I'm getting upset because I was looking for that. Anyway, I'll go for the second person. I'll go for the second reason. Like now you see you see me. Basically, he was the character Jack Wilder. Basically, like the young.
So that's James Franco's brother. Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah. And I was going to come back.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. So I was going to go saying that. Well, he also has a famous brother. We'll go with that too. But yeah.
Sorry, dude.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So that's basically what I wanted to bring in for him to be because of Now You See Me. It's a very action type movie. I mean, yes, it's all about magic and stuff like that, but he's actually have the ability to be running around and doing a bunch of stuff like that. Also, It was on 21 Jump Street.
Yeah.
So I wanted to pull from at least that aspect of having, the cop type of, what's the best way of thinking? Now, the police aspect of being an officer, being a soldier, being that type of character, so he can pull from that. I wanted to also have the suave kind of debonair coming from Now You See Me.
Right.
And basically give him now we're going into the spy aspect. We're going into the secret agent aspect of it, of being like a mercenary. Now we have mercenaries who are just coming in like, gruddy looking like, okay, where's my money type of scenario. Right. I want to give someone who has the ability that he's a suave individual, because if he's got himself tricked by his fiance, his girlfriend type of scenario, and they're about to have a life together, I'm thinking that he wasn't a gruff guy. I'm thinking that he was a smooth, this smooth operator, smooth criminal. Right. So that's basically where I was going. He's also was in 6 Underground. He was like number 6 in 6 Underground. So I'm giving that's it. But I realized here it is. I knew it. I was right in front of my face. Day Shift. Now, if you remember, he was a co-star with Jamie Foxx on Day Shift, who was the nerdy
yes,
a nerdy guy basically. But towards the end, he built himself into a hunter. You know what I mean? Right. So I'm going with that's the reason why I want to go with Dave Franco.
Nice.
Someone a little different that no one really knows, but him like, oh, I seen you here. All right, let's see what we could do. Put a little more muscle on him type of scenario, just bulk him up a little bit, just to give him a little more so he can fill out the form of the suit.
Right.
We're good to go.
Okay. I like that. So that's different. Okay, that's different. So here where I go. So first of all, I love I wanted to be like a true spy thriller chasing, and I'm looking in the camera. I'm looking right at you. Disney Plus. This
is where I forgot to actually say that. I forgot. I would go so much in the character. Forgot that. Yeah, I didn't want a movie. I wanted a series. Yes, okay. we because it's not Marvel, so we're gonna go with Disney Plus. Yeah, I want a series on that, so we can now intertwining and get the understanding of his global achievements of being a mercenary and everything with Creed, Logan, Wraith, and everything like that. Okay. I said Disney. That's where I was going, but please continue. As soon as you said it, I was like, oh, stop. I didn't say, do I want a series or did I want a movie? Give me a series. All right, cool. All right, your turn.
Strong bloodline. I hear you, man. I got you on this one. So Disney Plus. This is what I'm talking about. I want a Disney Plus limited series. Minimum 3 seasons. Right? And here's the beauty of it. Now, I know we have to wait till, now we know Namor in Wakanda Forever is a mutant, but I mean, we're waiting for the official mutants. What I mean by official mutants, the X-Men to make their debut in the Marvel Cinematic Universe at some point, right?
Yeah.
Disney's got the rights. They're working on stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so here it comes down to, and this could be a good introduction, depending how they want to do it, right? So this is where it gets a little bit tricky. I want a classic Maverick with the classic costume as a Disney Plus series.
Okay.
Right? I need to have that whole series, season 1. Just like how Moon Knight was, kind of, give me that 6 to 8 episodes. I want it world spanning, like how Moon Knight was, how Falcon and Bucky was, Winter Soldier was. I want that kind of feel. It's got to be like that with Maverick, a little bit humor, joke. Okay, all the points you said, Rod. You have to make him a mutant. I don't want it to be anything else. He's got to be a mutant.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, with everything. Then let it be him going through trying to find out. Let it be the whole thing with his wife and the Cell 6, that storyline, and then him trying to find out who was pulling his wife's strings and dealing with that guilt at the same time and the anger and throwing himself into work and just becoming numb to how he's dealing with that. That's how he copes with it. But I want, throughout the whole series, Team X flashbacks.
Yeah.
Not Maverick flashbacks with Team X. I want full Team X flashbacks. So if Marvel's already cast somebody to be the new Wolverine, and they're going to cast someone to be the new Sabretooth, then I need those actors from that movie franchise to go back and get in classic costume as the mercenary costumes, not their superhero, supervillain costumes, the black with the yellow and the goggles and everything like that, straight out, just like how Jim Lee and John Bryan envisioned, and give me those flashbacks through the series, because that would be a nice tie-in. If you're going to do a Maverick series and bring those two in, just like flashbacks here and there, it'd be like, oh, wow, we understand it's all part of the same world. Right. Great. So that's going to be like, season 1. Season 2 is him still spanning the globe and, doing what they did in the Maverick comic book. I do not want the character to become Agent Zero. No. Okay. I do not want him to die. I do not want him to lose his powers throughout the whole series, because he's a mutant. Let him stick with it. That's what I'm going with. And on that note, I wanted, I look for actors, and I try to always be open-minded. So with this, I understand his origin is that he had American parents, but he was born in Germany. Okay. So I was going for a German actor. Okay. Because to me, you're born in Germany, you're German. You just got American roots, descendants, right? So I went with the actor Max Riemelt. Okay, so this actor, he's done different things, but he was in the TV show Senses 8. So his last name is spelled Riemelt.
Okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Right. So he was in Senses 8. That series and movie.
For part 2 properly. I'm waiting for number 2 on that. We'll come back to that story.
Right, exactly. So this is the character. I mean, I looked at other actors, but I wanted him. So is he German descent? Yep. Does he have the jawline, the hair, and all that already? Okay. Yep. In Senses 8, at one point he's walking with a bazooka. Yeah, I think we're good. We good.
Okay.
Right. So this is who I was envisioning for this role to do it. Can he play a tortured character? Yep. He's got the acting range. He's got the look to it. And I get he doesn't have to be overly. I mean, Roy said they have to be bigger because that's how they draw him in comic books. But then when I look at a lot of the stuff these days, like live action, look how they drew. Look how they cast Namor. And I'm not knocking it. It's just that when you see Namor in the books, he's a big bulky guy. But how they cast Namor in Wakanda Forever, he wasn't that, right? Okay, same thing with some actors have the physique and it looks dead on in the comic book, and other times they do it different. It's like Spider-Man. Spider-Man's not a big guy, but because of his powers, he can lift a good few tons.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So this actor, I think he's got the good physique. Just get like more cut and chisel to look like he's going to be that agent. By the time you put the costume on him with the padding,
This is what I'm saying. This was saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, just bulk up a little bit. We don't want crazy bulk. Just bulk
No,
just
no, no, no.
to fill up the suit. That's exactly
Yes.
you and I said the same. Just to fill up the
Fill
suit.
up the suit.
Just to fill up the suit.
Fill up the suit.
So, I like that.
Yeah. So this is who I see to do it.
Okay.
And he's going to have a couple of main villains in there. He's going to deal with Silver Fox and other people from Department H and Weapon X and the Friends of Humanity. And he absolutely must have Omega Red as his main foil throughout this series. Omega Red has got to be the main bad guy. Like Batman has Joker, Spider-Man has Green Goblin, right? Wolverine's got Sabretooth. Maverick has Omega Red. This is what it comes down to.
I would definitely tag on to that, and I will say to the standpoint of have half or 3/4 into season 1, you start getting the touch of, or the acknowledgement, or the acknowledgement of Omega Red, then bring it fully into 2 and 3, and then let him be the sub villain, another sub villain on one of the layers, and
yeah.
So yeah, no, that's good. I like that.
Yeah. And you can still bring in his brother, right? You can bring in Christopher's brother, let them have that fight, bring in other assassins, people trying to take him out. So you got espionage, you got mercenary, you got mafia. Okay. And then a beauty visit. Okay. We're Canadian. We're Bajan, but we live in Canada. He can come to Canada and be in Quebec City and have that weapons person there. So there's all these little things that circle around Wolverine's mythos. And Maverick would be a good connecting line to them all. He's the missing link.
No, completely. I will definitely say that we're both on, minus the different characters, but at least the synopsis of what we want, the bullet points of what we want to see as a character in development. Yeah, we're definitely on. That's what I was saying. I want to see the world. I want to see the world globetrotting aspect of it, because you brought up the Quebec aspect of it. I have someone who's, if you're at that particular stage of the game, you're not making your own, unless you have to, but you're not really making your own, weaponry and stuff like that. Someone's doing it for you. You're going through the proper channels of making this thing, like saying, show us, mention a couple of times her name. Let's say, oh yeah, remember, I'm going to be making my way to Quebec. I'm in Germany now. I plan to be in Quebec in about 2 weeks time. Make sure you have my stuff by the safe house.
Yeah.
Make those type of drops, have him fly in, do what you got to do, have an adventure, like, oh snap, someone's after me. As I'm running away, to get back in a plane now to go to the States to meet up with Logan. Oh, whatever the case would be. Red is where? Let's go back to, and that's it. Like, that's how I fully see a series on that. Give me 8 to 10 episodes per series. Give me 3 seasons. And let's work on making a globetrot. And actually, on the same point you were talking about, intertwining characters like Creed and all that, and having doing flashbacks in. Yeah. Basically, what we wanted for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., how it was supposed to have been properly intertwined, and it didn't intertwine as we liked. You have the opportunity now, Marvel, to do that. And as Barry said, which is true, you can start writing the script, getting everything all set up, but we can't really fully drop him in until we have the full proper announcements of Mutant / X-Men into the MCU. Once that's done, domino effects. They should be just coming in right after.
True. Or they can take a chance and say, hey, we've got the actor for Sabretooth and we got the actor for Wolverine. We're going to bring him in Maverick. You know how much heat that series would get just for those little cameo appearances? And then fans knowing that they're going to reprise those roles in a movie? Woo!
Beforehand, yeah. If you already got them locked down, facts.
Even Maverick teams up with Nick Fury because, once again, he's in the spy world. We know Nick Fury's the ultimate spy.
Come on,
son.
There's enough. Like we said, realizing when you look into this character, realize that he's been underutilized, or is just like no one came up with better ideas of what to do with him. Now, listen, comic world is definitely, as we're saying, man. That's why we love this genre. That's why we love this podcast.
Deep, man.
Glad you guys are enjoying it. But we're seeing that the doors are opening. That the world of comics is now coming to the big screen, to the small screen, to the streaming streams. It's coming. It's there. the opportunities is there. Now you have the chance to start going back and finding all these characters and realizing what life that they have, breathe more life into them, and realize like, oh, he is already intertwined into the mythos very well. It's time to bring him to the surface. And let's go.
Absolutely. I mean, we got it all in this series, and I think it's been you're right. The character's been slept on. I would have loved to see get the cliff notes of what John Bryan and Jim Lee wanted the direction for this character, because I know, for example, like Chris Claremont left like cliff notes of how this character should be, but other authors come in and writers come in and they kind of change it or they dismiss it, they do their own thing. I want to know what their overall vision was for this character. So if I ever see them at a Comic-Con, I'm going to ask them. Right on.
Do it.
On that note, Rod, any last words?
Listen, definitely, as we always say, in regards to, if you like what you saw, we love the support. Make sure you hit that like, hit that share, subscribe. Let everybody know that you're running with the Iconist team. You're enjoying yourself. Let everybody know. Shout out to JB and her son. Just saw her over the weekend. It's like,
what?
Still watching the show, yeah. And she's like, I gotta tell him. I said, yeah. And as a side note, shout out to Nat S. I saw you. It's like, you guys do a podcast? Yeah. What's this on? Okay, I'm following now. Shout out to Nat. And to the man called Saul. Shout out to you. Welcome in. Listen, everybody's jumping in, enjoying the ride, and you out there, viewers, come on down. You guys will not be disappointed. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You can find us on all stream, platforms. Let's go.
For real. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the new followers. Thank you to all the people who are jumping on and catching the show. Remember, like, subscribe, share, rate, and review. I said the show comes out every Tuesday on YouTube, and then we do the podcast. It comes out the audio on every streaming service you can on Wednesdays. So on that note, I'm Barry 3D here with my cousin
Rod C.
Right on. This is the Iconist podcast. As I like to say, this whole world was started by a piece of paper, a pencil, and lots of imagination. Keep on dreaming. We're out.
Let's go. Maverick! Maverick!
What, you mean the plane? What? No.
Oh, that's wrong. Swipe that. Going in. I think I'm safe. I'll avoid it. I got healing factors.
Kinetic absorption.
That's good.
We gone.
Oh.